Hey, true crime fanatics, this is Claire.
And I'm Andy.
You're tuned in to the Homicide Hobbies podcast, which is a podcast for people who love to hear about the horrendous crimes that people commit. Enjoy. So where are we headed today?
So today we're going to be in a place with 325 public schools, 4,850 miles of public streets, 41,000 acres of desert parks and mountain preserves, more than 200 miles of trails, and 8 golf courses.
Arizona.
Their official food is the Apache trout.
New Mexico.
Several dishes were claimed to have originated here. The chimichanga, which is a deep-fried burrito, the cheese crisp, which is an open-faced tortilla covered in cheese and broiled until crisp, or Navajo tacos, which are tacos served on fry bread.
Utah?
Uh,
Nevada.
Today we'll be in Arizona.
Oh, you're an ass.
I love it.
You just don't like that I'm a good guesser. I thought when you paused for a bit that I was like, I was right, and she's mad.
No, I was just, because I was working on this case, things are a bit of a mess.
She's starting from the end.
Not really. So today, like you said, good job, by the way, we'll be in Arizona in the summer of 2009.
2009?
Yep. This case is one of the most chilling cases in Arizona's history, not because we don't know who the killer is, but because of how openly she owned what she did. Today, we're going to look at Angela Simpson, a Phoenix woman who lured a man into a vacant apartment and subjected him to days of brutal torture.
Oh. How old is she?
I didn't tell you yet. The question...
That's why I asked.
The question isn't who did it. The real question is why she did it.
No. I asked how old she was.
Angela Simpson was born November 29th, 1975. She wasn't exactly the poster child for stability. By her 20s and early 30s, she'd racked up one heck of a rap sheet. She had assault, armed robbery, car theft, forgery, drugs. You can kind of think of her as Walmart's clearance aisle of crime.
Oh.
You name it, she done it.
Did you come up with that all on your own?
She also struggled with serious mental health issues. Angela had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, and rather than take prescription medications, she self-medicated with drugs she found on the streets. In her own twisted head, she wasn't just a thug. No, Angela saw herself as a vigilante, a sort of Judge Judy with a screwdriver.
What?
And she claimed her first target, Terry Neely.
Is this when you turned off ChatGPT's comedy bits?
Sure did.
Walmart's clearance aisle, Judge Judy with a screwdriver. What the fuck? I don't even... All right.
Well, Terry was 46 years old. He lived in an assisted living facility in Phoenix. He was disabled. He relied on a wheelchair. It is unclear why he was wheelchair bound, but he was, in fact, wheelchair bound. He was a friendly kind of guy. He was known as a talker. He could strike up a conversation easily with just about anybody. He was vulnerable, trusting, and just a nice feller. Terry wasn't the kind of man that had many defenses against someone like Angela. One August night in 2009, Terry, who, like I said, he's 46 at this point, Angela's 33.
I thought she's a vigilante, because it doesn't sound like this feller she'd be getting any justice doing anything to him.
And I looked it up. Terry did not have a criminal record. He'd never been arrested. Like, he's just, and I realize there's people that aren't good people that haven't been arrested, but he doesn't appear to be a bad feller. But Terry's 46, she's 33, and she offers him what most lonely men would have a hard time saying no to.
Andrea.
Angela lured Terry with the promise of some drugs and sex. And Terry was like, all right. So he follows her to a vacant apartment off of West Glendale Avenue. And this is where his night and his life takes a turn to pure horror. Terry was thinking he was in for a real good time, and instead he was stepping into a deranged woman's trap. Once they were inside the empty apartment, Angela tied Terry up. What followed wasn't quick or impulsive. It was prolonged. Angela unleashed what I can only describe as the Home Depot starter pack for sadists.
Oh, that's the only way you can describe it?
She had hammers, knives, a screwdriver, a tire iron, 3-inch nails, and because she was really going for maximum pain, a baseball bat.
She didn't get that at Home Depot.
Sure didn't. She went through her arsenal. She used the hammer to smash him repeatedly. She targeted limbs and shoulders to inflict extreme pain but not do fatal damage. The knife was used for slashing and stabbings, leaving deep cuts along his body. The screwdriver was jammed into his skull and his torso. She used a tire iron and swung it like a blunt instrument. She broke bones. She bruised flesh, while a baseball bat landed with crushing force again and again, each strike echoing the cold purpose of her rage.
I don't know what the purpose of her rage is, so I don't see it echoing.
She pulled out several of Terry's teeth one by one. As he begged for mercy, she struck him or stabbed him or bludgeoned him repeatedly. Over the course of 3 days, each weapon delivering its own type of torment.
3 days?
At one point, she even swung the hammer with such force that he could barely move. He's already wheelchair bound, and she's. It's disgusting.
I don't understand what started all this.
I'll get there. Angela wasn't done yet. She then took a 3-inch nail and drove it into Terry's skull. The screwdriver and knife once again returned, and she continued to assault this man. Her goal was to keep him in constant pain. She methodically broke him down piece by piece, and at one point, she smashed him with a chair like she was auditioning for WWE's Raw.
Andrea.
She did. Angela controlled the environment. She decided when Terry would eat, when he would drink, and when the next round of beatings would start. Each weapon left its mark, each mark a testament to Angela's relentless cruelty. Like I said, for 3 days, Terry endured agony at her hands. He begged for mercy, he pled for his life, and Angela told him directly, "You're going to die."
I feel like he was praying for it.
Oh, he wanted her to stop.
Yeah, well, or just make it stop.
Yeah. When she finally decided to end it, she strangled him with a wire. To be sure that he was dead, she also slit his throat. This psychotic wench wasn't through. She then dragged his body into a bathroom, and this is where it gets even worse, because she then didn't leave him whole. Nope, she dismembered him. She then took his dismembered remains and shoved him into a trash can, dragged it outside, and set it on fire. On August 5th, 2009, police responded to reports of smoke near the vacant apartment complex. When the police get there, they find inside a burning trash can charred and mutilated remains. The body was burned beyond recognition. They had to use what was left of the teeth to compare to dental records just to confirm that it was, in fact, Terry Neely. Which I'm curious how they do that.
What?
If somebody's had a bunch of their teeth ripped out, how do you use dental records?
I don't know. Maybe he had, his back teeth.
Yeah. Now, I know we've covered some pretty brutal cases, but Angela Simpson's level of cruelty puts her in a league of her own. This wasn't a crime of passion or a drug deal gone wrong. This was premeditated torture. She invited this man over, tortured him for days, chopped him up, and set him on fire. And she didn't even attempt to conceal her involvement. When the police questioned her, she admitted to it all. She admitted to tying him up, she admitted to torturing him, and her explanation was simple. She believed he was a snitch, and in her world, that meant he deserved to die.
What?
Yep. She explained coldly to the officers how she used the screwdrivers, hammers, and nails, how she used the knives and listened to him cry out in pain. And as she described it, she sounded as if she was just listing off items like she was reading a grocery list. And when asked by the officers if she felt bad, she laughed. The moment that made Angela infamous came when a local reporter sat down with her, and instead of denial, she gave chilling candor. She described giving Terry food and drugs to put him at ease before she decided to kill him. She admitted the torture was enjoyable. When asked by the reporter if she felt any remorse, her answer was blunt. None.
I hope she's tortured in jail.
The casual way she spoke about 3 days of cruelty shocked viewers across the country. It was one of the coldest, most chilling interviews ever broadcasted. Watching it, you can almost forget you're looking at a real person. She talks with such calmness and conviction. She described the murder like she was telling someone how to make a sandwich, but instead, she's describing brutally murdering an innocent man, beating him with a hammer, and pulling out his teeth one by one. She bragged about wishing she'd tortured him longer and how 3 days just wasn't enough. And when the stunned reporter asked Angela, would she ever kill again, she replied, if the opportunity arises, I hope so. Here's the thing. Angela didn't care about how she looked to the world. She wasn't embarrassed. She wasn't worried about her future. She wanted people to know exactly what she'd done. She wanted them to know that she liked it. It wasn't about avoiding prison. It was about writing her own twisted legacy. By the time Angela's case went to trial, there really wasn't much of a mystery to solve. She'd already confessed. She bragged on TV. Hell, she basically gift wrapped the prosecution's case for him. In 2012, Angela Simpson went to trial, which I don't understand why she didn't plead out, why she went through a whole trial, but whatever. Usually, after a brutal murder like this, defense attorneys trot out the usual bad childhood, abusive parents, drugs, head trauma. She'd already been diagnosed as having schizophrenia, you name it. But Angela didn't bother. She didn't want pity. She didn't want sympathy, and she didn't want to use her mental health issues. She wanted recognition. The jury heard all the grisly details, the torture she inflicted on Terry for those 3 days, and how Terry sustained more than 50 stabs. When the verdict came down, surprise, surprise, they found her guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and aggravated assault. Angela did not flinch. The sentence? Natural life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 14 additional years.
It's so too good.
Right? During the sentencing, she smiled. She smiled like she was proud of herself. Angela just nodded, almost smug. She's like, yep, that sounds about right. And when reporters later asked her about the life sentence, she said, I got exactly what I wanted. You know what? I got a lot of family in prison, and I'm okay with that. I got many sisters in prison. I can't wait to see them. It's not really much of a prison sentence to be sentenced to spend my life with my family.
That's just fucking stupid.
It's sad. Angela further explained that she had a history of mental illness going back to when she was just 10 years old. But she insisted she doesn't want or expect any sympathy. She even said she believed that she deserved the death penalty,
Well, we agree.
right? But she's content with her sentence,
Well, we're glad you approve.
right? She's so disgusting. Throughout the entire process, Angela clung to her so called vigilante justification. She said she wanted to rid the world of people she considered evil, and that was rapists, criminals, and snitches. Now, it's never been confirmed by the police whether or not,
She's crazy.
well, no, whether Terry was ever any type of informant.
He probably wasn't. She's just a whack job.
Probably. She probably offered him drugs, and he was like, drugs are really bad for you. Probably shouldn't do that. That's illegal. And that made him a snitch. I have no idea, but Angela Simpson is locked away for life now, serving her sentence in Perryville Prison in Arizona. But Angela's story doesn't just end in a courtroom. In one of those strange intersections between true crime and pop culture, her infamous jailhouse interview ended up inspiring fiction. That horrifying interview went viral online, turning her into a dark internet figure.
I don't remember hearing any of this.
How old were you in 2009, and what were you doing in your life?
I was already married, ma'am.
And what were you doing in your life? Were you regularly on TV or the internet, or were you working for a mother?
So, working for a mother, I was all online. But, like, for viralness, I don't.
I don't remember hearing about it either. But then if I stop and reflect on what my life was like in 2009, you figure I had small children and my life was very chaotic. So, I don't know. I can see how I didn't hear about it, but clips of her interrogation circulated YouTube, Reddit. It's even sampled in some music.
What?
Yeah. Angela's words inspired Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the creator of the hit series Killing Eve.
I don't know what that is either.
See, the only thing I know about Killing Eve is it was the chick from Grey's Anatomy. She left Grey's Anatomy to go star in this.
Who?
The
main one?
No.
Meredith?
No, her friend, her person, the Sandra Oh. But what stuck with the creator of that show wasn't the violence itself, but the way Angela spoke about it, the calm, smiling, almost bored, like she was describing a grocery run instead of torture and murder. That chilling detachment became a key ingredient in creating the villain in that hit TV series.
She left Grey's Anatomy for that?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
She went to go be a main character instead of a sidekick, or what's it called?
Supporting cast?
Yeah, there you go. But behind the memes and pop culture is the reality. A vulnerable man in a wheelchair was brutally tortured and killed. Angela once said she hoped her victim was in hell, but honestly, if hell exists, I think it's saving a seat just for her.
In the back.
She's a reminder of how some people don't just cross moral lines, they sprint across them and set that line on fire on their way out. This case isn't about her twisted pride or her violent legacy in search of her version of vigilante justice. It's more about horror. The horror at what a human is capable of doing to another. The horror of how casually she could sit there afterwards and treat it like it was no big deal. And the horror of absolutely no remorse. Angela Simpson isn't a vigilante. She's not an avenger of the innocent. She's a sadist who picked an innocent, vulnerable man and made him suffer because it made her feel powerful.
You know, I guess the silver lining in all this is that she didn't try to cover it up, or, I mean, like, they caught her as quick as they did, because she could have gone on and continued to just randomly select people.
Yeah, but she's just so proud of herself. Terry Neely should be remembered not for the horror of his death, but for the life that he lived. He was friendly, trusting, and undeserving of the cruelty he faced. He was a man whose life was stolen in an act of senseless brutality.
I don't see how that's not a perfect case for the death penalty.
I think the reason they didn't go for it, I think the reason the prosecution didn't go for it, is you've got so many squeaky wheels out there now that it would be overturned because she is diagnosed as mentally ill and she was unmedicated. So we don't put them to death.
Yeah, I don't see why.
I think if you're diagnosed, and I realize this is possibly a harsh opinion, and
No,
but
I'm gonna still call bullshit on that, because if they interviewed her, I'm gonna assume they're giving her meds regularly, and she's not even sorry when she's medicated. This is a bad apple.
you don't have to take your meds. Do they have to take their meds in prison?
Do I look like I'm in prison or medicated?
Some of us should be. I know they strip you of your. I realize they strip you of your rights, but does she have to be on her medication in prison?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a case of she wasn't doing her meds because she couldn't afford to be on them. And I mean, she doesn't strike me as somebody who was working and providing a whatever kind of normal life. But so I don't know if that was the issue, and she's not keeping up with her own meds was the issue. I don't know.
I'm Googling it. It says voluntary treatment is preferred. Prison medical staff encourage inmates to take their prescribed medications, but if the inmate refuses, the choice is generally respected. It says involuntary medication requires due process. Under the U.S. Supreme Court case Washington v. Harper in 1990, prisons can medicate an inmate against their will only if the inmate is deemed a danger to themselves and others, and if
I think it's safe to say she's a danger to the others.
Right.
Unless they're trying to reduce population in prison, which I guess strategies.
It says in practice, many prisoners with schizophrenia go unmedicated because they refuse treatment and don't meet the threshold for forced medication. Many others may accept the meds because they help them with symptoms and help improve their prison life. I wonder if she just hated men, because you figure if she got arrested in 2009, she didn't attack any of the women in there. But then again, they were all her family. Yeah, but that's Angela Simpson.
I'm just still real confused at the motivation of the individual.
Yeah. It makes no sense, but then again, I guess trying to make sense of somebody that's batshit crazy, you're just going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
But I definitely can say a tattletale and a rapist are not on the same level in my book.
No.
I don't like.
I think you hit the nail on the head by trying to apply reason to somebody who's a wackadoodle.
That was a very awful phrase, since I just told you she stuck a 3-inch nail into his skull.
What's that have to do with a wackadoodle?
You said I hit the nail on the head. I did not.
Oh.
Yeah. You gotta be careful with them expressions.
Oh, right. Shall we rewind all the weird ass shit you said?
No. But I feel sorry for Terry, and I'm curious if she was such a batshit crazy person. She really managed to, like, I'm surprised with, like, stabbing him in the head with a screwdriver and driving nails into his skull. I'm surprised that stuff didn't kill him, you know?
Well,
And, like, stabbing him in the chest. Ugh,
well, if she's stabbing him with blunt stuff, it's not going deep enough.
yeah.
And depending on how big of a man he is,
Wanna see pictures? I got pictures.
no.
No, not violent pictures.
It,
She looks crazy.
that's the least surprising part of this whole thing.
Did you get the picture?
She does look a little crazy.
Mhm.
She's so happy.
I tried to tell you. She was proud of herself.
Well, I wish no good things on her.
Yeah. But that's Angela Simpson and Terry Neely, and that's all I've got.
Thank you for listening to Homicide Hobbies. I'm Claire.
I'm Andy.
Follow us each week to get your fix of the atrocities that occur in true crime. And don't forget to tell people about us and rate us if you like us. But don't rate us if you didn't. Just change the channel.